Well, it's that time of week when we visit with our media partners over at Textless Monthly. And earlier this week, we had talked about some of the changes the companies are making, all with the earmark to help environment.
Yeah, it's kind of like the new trend we're seeing. And we're taking a different look, though, at electric vehicles today, more specifically, muscle cars. So we want to bring in Tom Foster. Tom, you've been covering the transformation of classic cars into modern modes of transportation.
So my first question for you as we dive in is, how did you come across the subject matter? Are you an EV guy? Did you fall in love with them? Do you drive one already?
I wish I drove one. It was one of these things that I was sort of vaguely aware of that it was happening until I looked into it. What I didn't realize was, it's pretty easy to find guys who are sort of hot rodders who have an auto garage and they get the idea to drop a Tesla engine into some kind of a non-electric vehicle. What's much less common that I realized as soon as I looked into this was that there are very few companies, really maybe a couple dozen around the country, that have built a real business around doing this. And it turns out that there are a couple in Texas, one of which is in Denton, that specializes in American muscle cars. So, Camaros, Corvettes, Mustangs, Shelby Cobras, primarily from the 60s, and turning these things into extremely fast, high-performance electric vehicles.
I think that's actually really cool when you think about what it's really transforming into. We know you talked to several shops in Texas, including one here in North Texas, because we're biased. Can you talk about the EMuscle Car company that came to be and what the climate change factor is? This is a part of why they're making this transformation.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. So these guys who started EMuscle Cars, they had worked together. There was a business guy and an engineer who'd worked together at an engineering company previously, and became friends because they both loved cars. They both loved muscle cars. They were just they were car guys, right? And they connected. One of them made some money and decided to buy a couple of his dream cars, and realized that it's a lot of fun to own a classic car, but if you've ever owned a classic car, you realize trying to drive it regularly is a challenge because they break down. These are 60-year-old cars. So he got this idea. His daily driver was an EV, and he got this idea that, gosh, what if I put the two together? So he called his old friend and his engineer friend and said, let's partner up. Let's do this. So that's where the idea came from. It came from, hey, let's make these muscle cars cooler. It didn't come from, hey, let's go save the environment. When we talk about it a little bit more, it becomes clear that trying to do it for environmental reasons is not really the point anyway, because it would never make sense for lots of people to do this. It's just cost prohibitive. So they're really just doing it to make the cars faster, make them more reliable, make them cooler. And then, the fact that it's a lot more efficient is almost just like an ancillary benefit.
Yeah, it would seem to be just kind of a bonus on top of it all, because the real deal is, even in the classic car game, forget about the electric side of it, even in the classic car game, it's a big money business, right? So let's talk about numbers. You brought it up. What do the conversions cost? And I know everyone's probably somewhat specific to what you're rebuilding, but why not buy just an electrical car from commercial companies versus the mod? What are we looking at for like an old Camaro or something like that, or a Mustang? What's reality?
It's such a great question. Such a great question. You're right. If you're just trying to get to and from work, go buy a Tesla, go buy, a Hyundai and a VW. Like so many companies make really good EVs that are relatively affordable these days. If you were going to try to drop a Tesla engine into your, Honda, it probably isn't going to make sense. It's going to be more cost efficient to just go buy a new one. If you want to do it with a 1960s Corvette or something, you're probably going to spend, just to buy the Corvette on the collector car market, if you're buying a nice one, you're going to spend $50,000, $100,000 to buy a really beautiful, classic car. Then to do the conversion is going to cost a lot of money as well on top of that. So putting an engine in can cost you it's up to $40,000. Putting the batteries in can cost you $40,000. And then one of the things that happens is, if you put in big, heavy EV batteries into one of these cars that wasn't built, you know, to sort of handle that kind of weight. It changes the suspension needs.
Yeah.
That changes how the steering needs to work. That changes what kinds of gear gauges you need in the car. So you have to make all of these changes. You end up rebuilding the car entirely, and that ends up costing $200,000 or something at the end of the day. So not cheap. You know, you have to do this because you just really want one of these.
And that, my friends, is why I'm going to buy me an airplane if I ever have that
There you go. He's not even on the road anymore. It's really fascinating, though, to hear about this. So we want to say thank you, Tom, from Texas Monthly, for spending a little time with us. You can read much more about EMuscle Cars online. All you have to do is visit TexasMonthly.com, and you can read Tom's full article. Thanks again, Tom. We'll be right back.